We're still grappling with some, but I believe it is going to settle now. The reception. We're still having a little challenges with our reception on Facebook. I know it is always clear on YouTube, but we're going to solve it. We're going to solve it. Okay, I believe that we have actually tried our best. I don't know what byte rate is going to be producing. I believe the byte rate must be better than the previous one. So, just like I've said, we are revisiting and trying to understand the type of democracy that Africa is practicing to know whether indeed this democracy that is working for the West, why is it not working for us in Africa? Because in Africa, we've been actually promoting democracy. We've seen every other nations that doesn't promote democracy, except the Western nations that are promoting democracy, they are successful. Western nations, they promote democracy, they are successful. Why is it that the democracy style that we are actually pursuing in Africa is never made us successful? It's never made us, it has never looked like democracy because it doesn't look like democracy. When you look at it, you will think that it is actually, sometimes it looks like it's the type of democracy we have, it looks like it is anarchy. Sometimes it looks like it is dictatorship. There are many things you will think about many things in order to try to analyze the type of democracy that we have in Africa. And that democracy has been dealing with us. It has been killing us because we are not doing the democracy that the West is doing. Our democracy is based on formality. Our democracy is based on formality only. It is some system of, democracy in Africa is actually a system of government that is actually reliant on only its formalities. It does not actually practice what it preaches. Or Africa leaders does not understand exact meaning of democracy. That is exactly what I can actually fathom here. Because if they understand the meaning of democracy, that democracy is an independency of a nation. And you cannot tell me you are practicing democracy, you are waiting to be selected or to be sponsored by another nation in order to impose yourself on the people under democratic dispensation. I believe personally that democracy is the best thing that will happen to every nation if it is really democracy, if it is done right. But it is not working in Africa because the style of democracy Africa is actually pursuing is a dangerous democracy. It is a democracy that is actually looking out for the minority, not democracy that look out for majority. Democracy that promotes the affairs of minority instead of promoting the affairs of majority. And that is the reason why we are grappling with a lot of things today. That is the reason why we are grappling with all these warmongers, all these evil leaders that we are having, because you know they are evil. You know very well that they are evil. But how did they get into the position of leadership? Why is it always particular set of people that will occupy the position of leadership in Africa? Why will the situation ever change? Why won't the situation ever change? Because the type of democracy you practice in Africa is that when your colonialists discover any party that is actually going to be doing their bidding, they will make sure that they impose those party on you. People believe that Africa is free. Africa will never be free. As long as the neo-colonial structure is still part of the governance in Africa, Africa will never be free. Because this neo-colonial structure that is destroying, it is what is destroying us. The colonial structure that they left in order to use the new system to propagate it, so that you will not understand what is bringing you down or what is destroying you. That is the type of democracy that we are practicing, this new colonial democracy. And for us to for us to actually make change the narrative or change exactly what we have found ourselves into. For us to change it, believe you me, it is time that we revolutionize the type of democracy that we have. It is only through revolution. And revolution is the only key that will turn around this our problem. Revolution is the only thing that will turn around this our problem. We revolutionize the democracy that we are practicing and go and do the real democracy. If we cannot actually understand the real meaning of democracy in Africa and practice such democracy, it is better that we actually do away with this democracy, because it has never helped anybody. The reason why I still believe in democracy, it is still helping those who are actually exploiting Africa. It is helping them in their own side. Why it has never helped Africa? Because they are using democracy to, to blame you for the problem they have caused you. They are using democracy to blame you, even though they are the ones to be blamed for the problem you found yourselves into. Because they use this they call it democracy, and there is a United Nations Security Council. In the United Nations Security Council, which Africa are supposed to be the real member of the United Nations Security Council, Mugabe said that they were the artificial members of this United Nations Security Council. And if you look at it, you will understand that they are just, number, completion of number. African leaders, when they attend this United Nations Security Council, you will understand that they are just completion of number. They have nothing to offer. They will just be there, make a long speech that they have been practicing for more than 1 month, before the United Nations Security Council. They will come out and read it there. After reading verbatim what they have written or what is written and handed over to them, because some of them are not even qualified to be a leader, because for you to be a leader, you must be an intellectual. You must be somebody that will be able to articulate and negotiate. And they don't want such type of leaders that are able to articulate and negotiate and stand their ground. They don't want such leaders in Africa. Once they see that capability of being able to stand your ground, to negotiate, to actually, implement something or make a policy that will enable your country to grow, they will never ever allow such leader to thrive or to win. That is the reason why you see that we are practicing democracy in Nigeria. You are practicing democracy in Nigeria, but you do not have right to protest. You do not have right to self-determination. You do not have right to referendum. What type of democracy is that does not give people right or make a provision in the constitution whereby there will be a referendum if need be? That is not a democracy. That is not a democracy. A democracy is a situation whereby there will be there is a three arms of government that are independent to each other and active and performing their duties. according to the law and according to the law of democracy. If you think about this type of democracy we are talking about, you will go to UK, you go to Britain, you will understand that democracy is working. You go to US, you will understand that democracy is working. You go to Germany, you understand that democracy is working. You go to Holland, you will understand that democracy is working. You go to Finland, you will understand that democracy is working. You go to Italy, you will understand that democracy is working. In Europe and in fact the West, their democracy is working for them and enable them to bring economic development and growth. Democracy makes people to protest when they do not agree with the government. Democracy makes people to actually choose and remove an incumbent government. Democracy grants people the right. That is the reason why democracy defines itself that people are the sovereign. The sovereignty of that nation lies in the hands of the people. Ordinary people on the ground, because democracy gives power to the people. So democracy, that power given to the people, enable the people to select through a ballot box who is going to govern them. But now, the excesses coming from the colonialists, it make that democracy to be very difficult one. They do not practice what they preach. That is the reason why when you see majority championing a particular cause, they will never, listen to it. Rather, they will use iron fist or factionalism to try to truncate that good cause of this majority. Because it is a cause that will actually enable people to grow economically. It is actually a cause that will enable people to understand themselves, enable people to be able to work together, people of like minds working together, which is gazetted in the Universal Declaration of Human Rights. It is actually gazetted because it is laws that govern any democratic nation. But we are not actually benefiting from those laws. When you have issues, you go to United Nations or you write to United Nations. The United Nations will never respond because there are particular people they are set up for. They are actually selective in in their representation. They are selective in everything in their judgment. United Nations coming to make a media statement does not mean that they are carrying it out or they are actually, following it up. That's why you have never seen a tyrant leader of Africa that has ever gone to ICC, except the one that does not agree with them. Just like Maman Gaddafi. He didn't even go to ICC. They killed him. They killed him with the help of some saboteurs who call themselves African leaders. They are also actually grappling with the problem that they have created. Libya, we are actually displaced. Libya was one of the richest countries in Africa that is actually, her citizen does not even travel. They don't move around except moving for tourism because Gaddafi create an avenue whereby he pay people who are not employed. He even pay anybody who is actually a graduate. He pay people a good amount of money every month. Pay children. Gaddafi made such system available. Why did they kill him? Because they do not want any government that will rise up from this Africa and start practicing, what looks like what they are practicing in the West. That is the reason why you see most Asia countries, most Arab nations, they don't do with democracy. They don't want your democracy. They do what they do that they know that it benefits them. They do what is good for their own system. And that's why they are benefiting from their system of government or governance. That's why they have infrastructural development and economic growth. That's why they are one of part of the powerhouse of the world. But Africa insisted that we continue to practice this thing our oppressor gave to us, because if we don't practice it, our oppressor will not like us. And they continue to say this thing we are practicing is the best way. When they call you, they tell you that no, we don't want anything anti-democracy again. But while you are going through it, you will understand that this type of, thing that Africa actually made peace with, it is demise of Africa. Democracy is a demise of Africa. It has never been a benefit, or no African citizen has ever benefited from this type of democracy that is being played in Africa. Have you now seen? The only thing you benefit from democracy is when they actually want to promote a particular narrative. When they come and impose some types of lifestyle in you, which I will not be able to mention, because mentioning such thing is actually, the way they censor those topic, mentioning it is actually a taboo. Those type of lifestyle that you have seen as kicking back, those implementation that destroys our children, those implementation that radio will continuously talking about these things. Talking about rainbow as if it is something that is actually beneficial to us. And they will try to, they will do everything, including bringing financial support, in order for you to promote this agenda that is not beneficial to anybody. They will make sure they speak that in radio, promote it on the television, make sure it is a topic that when you talk about it, you are free to promote it, but you are not free to say, no, I don't like this. You can never be free to say, no, I don't like this initiative that promotes rainbow. It is a one-sided democracy. It is only democracy that what West want you to promote is what must happen. In the United Nations Universal Law, a Declaration of Human Rights, right to self-determination is actually allowed. Right to self-determination is allowed. Right to life is allowed. But when you try to exercise those rights, the people that they gave you in the name of leadership, and they tell you that it is under democracy, these same people will violate those rights without answering or without you hearing it, like mainstream media talking about it. You will never hear mainstream media talk about it, because the mainstream media, they are not there to talk about things that oppress the ordinary people. They are just there to talk about the things that promote your leaders, because your leaders are actually the reason why they have access to the resources that is coming out of your ground. It is your leaders that are actually granting them such access. So because your leader is there granting them such access, you are bound to fail, because those people, you did not choose them to be in the position of power. They bought their way into the position of leadership, especially in ECOWAS countries. Especially in ECOWAS countries. Because if you look around you, you will find out that every region in the African geopolitical zones or geopolitical locations, ECOWAS, sub-Saharan, there is where they impose poverty on people in the name of leadership. They impose hell on people in the name of leadership. And if they do not like you, you as a person who is coming for the position of leadership, regardless of how many millions of votes you have, they will change it. And they will install their stooge. It is the power of neocolonialism. That is the reason why the same modus operandi is what Fulanis are using in Nigeria. Fulani must make a choice. Fulanis must actually be the decision making whenever it comes to leadership position in Nigeria. Fulanis will be the decision makers. It is very, very unfortunate. Very, very unfortunate. Now, under this democracy, there is something I want to read. A democracy grant you right of association, right to marriage and right to divorce. You know that. Right to marriage and right to divorce. But here, what is going on here? Let me see something here. There is something I want to read here, so that we will know whether this is democracy. Let me read it. Maybe let me bring it to your screen. Let me bring this one to your screen. Let's try to bring this one to your screen. I want you to look at this. This is France 24. This is news. It is a French newspaper or French news. Let us read it. It says, ECOWAS step up pressure on Niger coup leaders. Now, the reason why you will see now ECOWAS all over, including in CNN, in Al Jazeera, in BBC, everywhere. Nigeria is also in CNN. But when Boko Haram have took over a particular, when Boko Haram are actually killing people, the time Boko Haram were killing people in the ECOWAS region, it was not seen as a problem. It was not seen as a problem. I don't know why, but we are having a very, very bad signal. We are having a very, very bad signal. It is actually, let me refresh. All right, let me bring it back. Okay, it says ECOWAS steps up pressure on Niger coup leader. West Africa military chiefs on Friday said a plan for a possible military intervention. Now they are calling it possible military intervention in Niger if coup leader do not stand down has been made earlier. France rejected the Niger junta's move to scrap bilateral military pacts, saying only Niger's legitimate leadership was entitled to do so. The news come after an ECOWAS delegation left the capital. I don't know. We continue to get. I don't know. I can't even see. I don't know if we are coming out clear. Okay, since we are still coming out, let's continue. So, what I just read here for you now, it is where ECOWAS. Oh, lack of memory. Are we even live on YouTube? We are under attack today for real. Okay, we are really under attack today. But we must continue, nevertheless. We must continue. So, what I just read for you now is actually telling you that Niger is trying to cut ties with French. They are trying to sever their ties with French, and French is refusing to cut ties with Niger. Have you ever seen forcing yourself to be friends with somebody? Where on earth does such things happen? Forcing a relationship, forcing yourself to become friends to people who does not even want to be your friend. Where on earth does such thing happen? So that is exactly what you see that I read here, that Niger is trying to be friends with France. I know, is trying to sever their relationship with France, their symbiotic relationship that they had with France. So the coup leader decided that no, we cannot, we cannot entertain such friendship because it has never benefited us anything. Niger, the French President Macron says no, it is not happening. That's what he said. It is not happening. Let's continue to read. West African military chief, listen to this. Okay, let's continue. The news come after ECOWAS delegation left the capital of Niamey without meeting coup leader Abdurrahman Tiani. Read our live blog to see how all the day event unfolded, all time at Paris time. Okay, here. Chad will not intervene in Niger coup, defense minister says. Chad will not intervene in Niger coup, defense minister said. The country's defense minister said on the state television on Friday, just as West Africa Regional Bloc said it has devised a possible plan to reinstate ousted President Mohamed Bazoum. 5 past 7 p.m., West African Defense Chief planned out possible intervention in Niger. The French countries is pushing it. French is pushing at all cost to see if they will lure this set of people who cannot reason for themselves into a fight that belong, that they want to lure them to fight themselves, because they know if French send the military now to Niger, which is what they will not even give a second thought. If people are not watching, if the world is not watching, they were going to send military to go and destroy everything and everybody in Niger. But because they know people are watching, and they know their stance in the Russia-Ukraine war. So that is exactly the reason why they are trying to now bring a shadow war or proxy war against two people who are close to each other. That's exactly what they are doing. But in that regard, I want to actually make it clear to those ECOWAS leaders who are flapping their wings in order to go out there to cause a war and to kill innocent people. Immediately when you will start such war, believe you me, you might be seeing revolution across ECOWAS region. Those remaining ECOWAS region countries that are remaining, that are still practicing their fake democracy, introduced to them by the West. Those remaining ones, I want them to know and understand that very soon that they will end up okay. Okay. I don't know. Let me check if the leadership is already online so that we will join them. I don't know. Is it okay? They are coming online 7 o'clock Biafra time. I believe they're already online. Let us try to join them. I didn't even know it's already 7 o'clock. We will continue this broadcast tomorrow. Let us join them.